they're just going to look at it and say, man, the Niners are on the downslide. And the Raiders, hey, they got Carr. They add a few additions. You can't deny that. I'm a diehard Niner fan. But, I mean, they're the Raiders. They always seem to find a way to lose.
Well, they have that one up-and-coming linebacker that I actually like.
Khalil Mack.
Yeah. He doesn't remind me of Patrick Willis, but when they got him, I figured that he would rival what we got. But they're not better than us.
Thank you.
Are you listening?
Niner! Niner fam, last week we endured from NFL Network Eric Davis. And you remember that? Eric said we're the worst team on paper in the NFC West. It has now went to the next level. Not only are we one of the worst teams in football, we're not even the best team in the San Francisco Bay Area. Are you ready for that? I just don't understand these kind of feelings. What is it? What do we need to do to become a team with any kind of respect whatsoever?
Ronbo, let me have some of this. Was over in Oakland for the Warriors celebration, right? Okay. Afterward, me and my boys strolled on over to Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles in Jack London Square. Everything was all right till I got into it with some Raider fans who got to running some major smack.
Was you wearing your colors?
You know I was.
Oh.
Dude talking about the 49ers ain't no longer got no pedigree with all them retirements. I said, fool.
Oh.
On the offense alone, the Niners got 8 players who participated in the Super Bowl 3 seasons back. And we picked up 3 more Super Bowl winners since then from the Ravens and 1 Reggie Bush from the Saints.
That's right.
Ronbo, I left Roscoe's with half a plate of groceries unfinished. That fool made me so mad. It's all good, Raider fans. Congrats on the Warriors, but y'all about to get your Raider feelings hurt come 2015. Yeah, I got to get on out of here, Ronbo. I got to hurry up, man. I'll meet you later.
See, this is what I'm talking about. The disrespect. We have how many months before the season starts? And we have to put up with all this you know what. You know what I'm going to do? I want to go to the cam right now, and I want to ask you what you think about us no longer even being the best team in the San Francisco Bay Area. Okay, so let's get to the cam immediately. Let me introduce you to Rustin Hungate, and he's got some things I'm going to tell you about him in just a moment, but we're in the middle of a conversation. We have to continue this. As you've already heard, we are no longer the best football team in the San Francisco Bay Area. And Rustin just pointed out to me that unbeknownst to me, I thought that was just a Bay Area poll. That is apparently a national poll. 67% of the people polled say we are the second best team in the Bay Area. And you know who else in the Bay Area is involved? The Raiders are now number 1, Rustin. Rustin, please reflect on that for me, because as you know, bias has nothing to do with how angry I am. This is outrageous. But what are your feelings on this?
Yeah, you know what? I think it was, now a lot of Raider fans are Seattle fans also, so that goes a long way. We've been hated on for years, man. I don't know why. They've always hated our team. I think a lot of it has to do with having Montana and Steve Young back to back. I don't think a lot of people like that. When you dominate an era like we did, I think people hate that. A lot of things for our Niners are going to depend upon Kaepernick this year, especially after losing Davis on the line. That's going to be a huge question mark. Can these young guys pick it up, or can we go out and sign a big guy to get up to pick up the slack? So I think a lot of people are looking at that point. I think a lot of people are looking at Cap's play last year. I think a lot of people are looking at our retirements, which frankly is a little frightful, all the people that have left. So if you take all those factors and put them into one pot, the East Coast from West Coast, they only see stuff because they go to bed at 10, so they don't see everything anyways. They're just going to look at it and say, man, the Niners are on the downslide. And the Raiders, they got Carr. They add a few additions. You can't deny that. I'm a diehard Niner fan. But, they're the Raiders. They always seem to find a way to lose.
Let me introduce you to Rustin properly. Rustin, if you were watching the draft this year, and I know that you were, Rustin was the guy that came in and announced the drafting of Ian Silberman. And Rustin, the very strange thing so far is we've not heard anything about Ian. I'm not sure if he's making a splash in camp or anything, but you've heard about the draft pick. In fact, Trent Brown was drafted the round after Ian, if I'm not mistaken. He was drafted in the 7th round.
Yeah, I'm thinking he was later, yes.
Yeah. Anyway, I was surprised here from Trent, but nothing about Ian. Ian, looking at that body, and he's perfectly made, I thought he was going to come in and make an immediate splash, but have you been keeping up with him, or what's going on with Ian Silberman?
There hasn't been a whole lot. I'm out of Sacramento. That's where I live presently, so, I get a lot of local news. There hasn't been a lot about him. Huh. Coming out of college, he transferred to Boston College out of Florida in 2013, and, he played all 12 games for Boston and really picked up his draft. Before that he had only played in 20 games, and I think he started 7, I believe, for Florida. So I think he's gonna probably be one of those project guys. I just hope that we have a guy that can be maybe a quarter of what McKittrick used to be and build these young line guys into something that can pan out longhand for us.
Well, that said, Rustin, now what do you believe after we've been through OTAs, we've gone through mini camp, and you've heard all the news on who's impressive, who's making the most noise? Who do you think is going to make the biggest impact this year, 2015, for the 49ers?
Well, you can say Reeser, because obviously that's all you're hearing out of the camp is, Reeser, and he's looking young, he's looking hot. That would be an obvious pick. An undrafted guy, DeAndre White, they're saying he's looking like he could be a standout wide receiver, saying he's making big plays. I don't buy too much into that until I see him on the field. Trent Brown, you've already mentioned him. You're hearing a lot that he may be a guy that might be able to step in. Another obvious one would be Pinion. Bradley. They cut our kicker, he's gone, or gave him, they didn't cut him, so they traded him to Cleveland. I really hope he makes an impact, because we know how many times that we've lost by 2 or 3 points. So that's just a few guys. You got Tart, special teams. He should make an impact. And I'm really hoping Davis can come through and shine through, because it's a little scary for me losing Gore.
We're still talking about trading Colin Kaepernick. Why does that continue? Who's starting this rumor? Where is it coming from?
Rumors in the 49ers, I don't know. But that could be, who knows, right? That's been a problem now for a year or two.
You know what? I just want to make a point on that, though. Because I'm very concerned about this, because remember when we heard about the rumors that Jim Harbaugh was being traded to Cleveland and all that big circulating mess that went on, and then everybody says, get out of here with that. Lo and behold, we find out that it was true. And at the end of the last season, well, you know what happened after that. But, you're feeling on Cap.
Well, you know what? I think Cap can, let's face it, the line wasn't that good last year, but neither was Cap's performance. When one receiver drops balls, you can say it's a receiver problem. When they're all dropping balls, you do have to look at Cap, I like Cap. I think he's young. I think he's strong-armed. I think he could be, he definitely could run. I think he could be the guy, but he needs to do it. He's got to come out this year, and especially losing Gore, and really have a year, because his contract was set up. It was a very, very good contract for the club for him to be released or traded at any time with little blowback to the club. So this is going to be a big year for Cap. Cap wants to put the end to these trade rumors. He's going to have to come out there and hopefully do what he's promised, hopefully working down in Arizona this year that he learned a few things, I'm hoping that taught him to put a little bit of touch on the ball, taught him, to get rid of the ball instead of running out of bounds 6 yards behind. These little things, I hate to say it, but that's the reason you hear these things about Cap. Let me ask you a question real quick. You don't think that none of those drop balls are because of Cap, the way he's throwing the ball? When you're 10 yards away from a guy and you're lasering, you got to get a little touch. You know what I mean? Just a little bit. And there was times last year that you would look at Cap and you'd be like, if this guy played like this every single game, granted, if this team played like this, we'd be unstoppable. And then you would look at games just like, what team am I watching here? I haven't missed a game in 13 years to the 49ers. I've been to every single home game. Okay, I brought my wife 3 weeks overdue with my first child to the Niner game, so I wouldn't miss it, okay? I haven't missed it. I've named my second child Kezar after the 49ers' first stadium, okay? I love the 49ers. Cap needs to come out this year and have a great year. And this line really scares me because if they can't hold for him and if they can't open up the run, I mean, we're going to have problems here. And I'm telling you right now, and I think going back to that poll question, not to go back, that's a big part of why these people are thinking that, they're counting the Niners out. Yeah. Besides all the Raiders / Seahawk fans, whatever they switch to, we'll see who's better this year. It's a poll, so I don't take too much from a poll, All
right. So. I'll buy that. I'm just, as I say, and the offensive line, I'm sure it's going to be tweaked. And who knows? We may be picking up Evan Mathis. If that happens, that's all we need. The one more guy. So
the cap room's there. It should have already been done. They should have been out there the very first time, and then they should have did the same thing that they did to the Cowboy. Flying them around Frisco, treating them, taking them to lobster dinners, they should have done everything they've done and get this guy out here because we need him.
Yeah. 2 out of 3 people believe that Baltimore is going to beat us. How do you feel about that? And who do you think is going to be the toughest competition on the schedule this year?
We got a few tough ones. You got Pittsburgh, I think is going to be a lot better this year. You got Green Bay. You got Baltimore. You got Seattle, of course. I believe Seattle's always going to be a tough game, whether they're good or bad. And I don't think they got worse this year. So I probably have to say that Seattle's going to be our toughest game. And I do think that Baltimore's beatable. But then again, we're just going to have to see. I think we're going to win Baltimore. It's my birthday game. So, my birthday's a couple days before, so I'm going to call Baltimore a win.
No, we're going to be ready.
I have faith, but you know what? I'm coming into it every year pumped, like we're going to win. So this year I'm coming in optimistic, and I think maybe I might change that juju a little bit. I think that I got to change my mindset so I can be ready for the wins,
Now, Rustin, as tradition goes in this program, you got to give me the holla. I'm going to give you 3, 2, 1, and you give me that Niner yell. 3, 2, 1.
Niners!
Yeah. You could tell the kids aren't home. Yeah. Introducing Chris. But Chris, I know we're going to talk about cap. We're going to talk about other spaces or other things. But Chris, something has been bothering me for days. NFL Network did not have to do this, but they have published and posted a poll conducted as far as the question being, what is the best team in the Bay Area? Who will finish with the best record on the end of the season? The Raiders beat us to death, 67% to 33%. How are you taking this? I'm not doing well with it at all. I refuse to believe that they have looked into this carefully before they conducted this poll to begin with, and that the fans that answered have no idea what's going on with the San Francisco 49ers. What are your feelings on that?
Well, my feeling is it's public opinion, but at the same time, they won't see us coming.
I like that. Now, man for man, just looking at each roster, is there a real reason to believe that the Oakland Raiders are superior to the San Francisco 49ers?
Well, they have that one up-and-coming linebacker that I actually like.
Khalil Mack.
Yeah. He doesn't remind me of Patrick Willis, but when they got him, I figured that he would rival what we got. But they're not better than us.
Thank you. All right, now I know you'd like to talk about the cap, and we got lots of money to spend, but what specifically is your feeling about the cap and how it's going to affect the 49ers in the future?
It's all good for us. What, $25 million under the cap right now, and then we'll be $40 million next year. So we can get Julio Jones, we can get a up-and-coming wide receiver, maybe Des Bryant. We'll see. Or we could just keep our guys. I would keep Aldon Smith. Other than him, lock up the rest of our core guys.
How do you feel about Tom Sula so far? I mean, the job he's doing. Have you been watching how he's been carrying on with the team so far? What do you think?
Well, I like him. One, the players respect him, so he's a player's coach. I think I seen your last one when you was talking about like this four things with the team, like special teams, defense, offense, and family. Is that what was last time? No, I've never heard anybody say that. So I'm convinced.
Coming in with a new plan. The biggest fires at camp right now have to be between the wide receivers and the cornerback position. Who's going to win that third spot as far as wide receiver? Who would you put in there?
I want a speed guy. So is that the young kid? I think I know his last name is White, isn't he?
DeAndrew
White.
DeAndrew White out of Alabama.
But don't count out Patton, though.
Don't count
out. What's that one guy we got from Minnesota? I'm thinking of his name.
See, his name is Jerome Simpson.
Yeah, he's the backflip guy. No, the front flip guy.
Wait, he caught the ball first. It was a front flip.
Yeah.
I got to tell you right now, though, Jerome Simpson wins that job for several different reasons. Number one, speed. Number two, 6'2". Number three, experience. And number four, you just pointed it out. The man is a complete freak. Who does flips in the air, comes down on their feet, and runs into the end zone? I've never seen that before.
That guy. I was at a BJ's restaurant watching the highlights from that. I think that was the game where we won in the road at Seattle in 2013. They were showing highlights of that while we were playing at Seattle to win the division. 2012?
Yeah.
That was the same day.
That's pretty funny you pointed that out. I did not, because that highlight, I didn't even know anything about it until I seen it.
Because they were showing the highlight when I was watching it on TV on the big screen while we were in the restaurant.
Insane, absolutely insane. All right, now that's a receiver. Now the cornerback situation, that is outrageous right now as well. What do you like for the CB?
For the cornerback?
Yes.
Dante Johnson.
You do? Well, now why is that?
Well, he seemed like a good rookie when he was in. What convinced me was that Rams game when he ran back the interception.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, we got to keep that kid. He has to start. But him and Tremaine Brock should be the starters.
Keith Reeser, have you noticed him?
No, I haven't seen anything on him yet.
Okay. It seems while Jimmy's laying in the hospital trying to heal up with that broken foot, Keith Reeser has moved up in camp, and right now, they've actually got Keith Reeser penciled in to start next to Tremaine Brock. And in this case, Sharice Wright, and I don't want to talk bad about Sharice, but I do not want Sharice starting next to Tremaine Brock. I would rather see Dante, as you mentioned, or please. Keith Reeser has got all kind of upside. I kind of like that choice. That's my favorite right now is Keith Reeser.
Isn't Sharice Wright over in his career for interceptions?
2 or 3, I think. You know what Trent said about Sharice? He said Carlos Rogers was not a very good cornerback before we got him. But after we got him, it's all about the front line. He became a good cornerback. But Trent's memory is a little different than mine. I don't remember Carlos Rogers being all that impressive while he was with the 49ers. So I'm not sure what's going on with that. But Reese is a real deal. So, and Dante Johnson, not bad at all. I can't wait for the season to start. I do not understand why people have decided that the Oakland Raiders are the best football team in the Bay Area. They just haven't examined the 49ers. Chris, that's going to stop. I would suggest in 3 weeks after the season starts, all of that is going to be cleared up. I ain't worried about that at all.
They're going to power rank probably the Oakland Raiders, but as long as we fly under the radar till people start noticing us, we'll be good.
I like that. I like that. You can't leave, Chris, without giving me the 49er holla. Are you prepared? Okay. Are you ready? 3, 2, 1.
Niners!
Yes. Thanks, Chris Rustin, for joining me today. And I got to tell you right now, Niner fam, do not hang your head. Keep that chin up. Besides, as long as I'm around, I will not tolerate any negativity. I'll see you on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And please subscribe so you'll know when I'm coming back looking for you. Count me up out of here.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You'll never have the sacred stone.
Oh, this you crazy mother.